This is a Glass Box Media podcast.
What's important, and I think we touched on this in last week's episode, and even in the mini episode a little bit, although albeit jokingly, what's important at the end of the day is how we treat each other. Like, it really does matter. And to your point, talking about like looking people in the eyes, I actually saved a podcast. It was a Tara Brach podcast where she was talking about learning to see the humanity in other people. And this is an exercise that I've been trying to do, and one that I think is actually really helpful, especially right now when everybody's wearing masks. And I realized that I'd never really done this before. And a good way to kind of like connect with another human being is to recognize the color of their eyes. Because like I didn't do that before. And then when I started doing that, it makes you pay attention to them and really like look at them and see the humanity in them in a completely different way. And it's such a simple, like small thing that you can do is just when you're talking to somebody, notice the color of their eyes, So I challenge everyone to do that because it does, like, we are so busy. And before, we talk about all of the negative things, but before this, we were all moving so fast. And this did cause us to like give us the space to allow us to slow down a little bit. And with that, it allows us the time to be able to not just pass people by. Like, you can actually pay attention,
Right.
Pay attention.
Yeah. Well, and me, I'm the eat the rich person where I get mad, where I'm like, why isn't this period of time the point where we're all not rising up crying out for our 20-hour work week? Because that's what we were supposed to have. Like, technology was supposed to make it as such that like we're all supposed to be comfortable and taken care of, not fucking crazy filthy rich. No one is out here asking for Jeff Bezos money or whatever. We're just asking to live a comfortable life where the technology exists, where we don't have to fucking kill away ourselves for 50, 60, 70 hours a week to not even meet our bills. You know what I mean?
So, yeah.
Well, yeah, I'm hoping the other silver lining for 2020 is enough people are sitting up and saying like, well, this is fucked up. I don't like this. I don't like this at all.
Right. Yeah. I mean, and we were talking about, because Christina, you're like, we don't need to make it as much about like our appearance. Like, we can make it more about like changing as individuals. And absolutely, like I'm completely with you. Like I said, like I feel like I have become so much more in touch with myself, like emotionally, spiritually, mentally, in a way that like consciously doing these things, because that's what I've had to do to survive, is be like, you can't continue to go down this path the way that you've been going. You need to figure out your shit. And if that means like going to therapy or starting meditation or like journaling or like doing something that it just improves yourself like mentally, you should definitely do that.
Because that's amazing, because the aesthetic always changes. Like, if you look at Renaissance paintings, what's beautiful is like this very full-figured woman, and it's just like,
well, you can even narrow that further. When you
narrow down like what it is, and when you realize that like you feeling bad about yourself is so someone else can make money. That's what it's about. It's so a skincare company can make money. It's so a fucking fitness thing can make money. It's so Fabletics can make money. It's so all these other companies are making money off of you feeling bad about yourself. When you realize that and say, you know what, like I'm not buying into this capitalism. Like, men don't have to fucking deal with it at an extent that women
Right. They do, but not the same way. It's not the same way.
Exactly.
Totally different, yeah.
It's not the same, but they do. And especially since Marvel superheroes, like, all men think that women want six packs and stuff like that. We don't.
Listen,
That's
I've seen
not
Zac
what
Efron's diet, and that shit looks like no fun. I don't want to be with somebody who's literally like, I can't have sugar or butter or carbs ever. I'm like, we can't be together. I'm sorry. It's not going to work out.
Eating pizza and drinking White
Yeah,
Claw
eating
right now, so,
pizza
like, if you can't get down with that.
is my joy. Anthony just left the house to go get us a calzone. Like, are you kidding me? But what I will say, though, I completely agree with you. I think that, like, the beauty industry does thrive on us obsessing about our flaws. It's true. However, I will say, like, I have found that, like, there is, for me, a mental aspect in presenting myself a certain way every day. Like, it actually does, like, help me to feel like I'm put together and I feel confident. And so that's okay as well. Like, if you find joy in, like, putting yourself together or, like, buying a certain outfit and, like, feeling like you are that bitch going into your day, then that's also okay. But it is important to have your eyes open about all of it, you know?
Don't do it for other people's gaze, because that's the thing. Like, I want to get to a point, and I spend my money because right now what I do for skincare and exercise and all the other things I spend money on is because I'm like, I want to be like Alicia Keys, where I'm like, I want to rock
No foundation.
no
Yeah.
makeup,
Same Z's.
nothing. Where I'm just like, I don't want to participate in that anymore.
And you want to feel
I
confident.
don't.
And that looks different for
But
everybody.
I also want to feel confident.
But, you know, like, that looks different for everybody. For a lot of people, you know, like, wearing makeup makes them feel confident, you know, or like, there are certain things that it's different strokes.
It's enjoyable. Like, I enjoy where I like putting makeup on.
So do I.
Like
It's
the
therapy.
art
It's
of
therapeutic
putting
for me.
makeup
And
on.
that's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I don't. I have like during COVID. When was the last time I put makeup on? Last time I put a full face of makeup on was my birthday, when we had a birthday
In
Zoom party.
April.
That was,
Wow.
I'm not kidding. Yeah, that was the last time I put makeup on. But also at the same time, like, I enjoy the break. But am I ready to go back to work? Am I excited about the idea of when I will actually get dressed up in something that isn't Fabletics?
Am I ready?
I can't wait.
Am I so do I
ready.
fantasize? Do I fantasize about, like, having, like, putting on my favorite playlist and, like, putting my makeup on and
Yes.
doing my hair and putting on an outfit that makes me feel amazing and going out with you guys? I
Girls,
fantasize
Girls.
about it. I do.
when this
I got-
happens, can we have not only we're going to go out, but we're going to get together and get ready together?
I love it.
Yes.
Yes.
Oh, I'm so excited.
That is the best girl experience ever.
ever. So fun.
Can I just
Getting
tell?
ready
Can I
together?
just tell the audience that it's a million degrees. I'm up in Lake Arrowhead right now, which is cooler than where you guys are. It is cooler.
Yeah, it
Although
is.
for being up in the mountains, it's still like 90 something degrees. And this
Cool.
cabin does not have AC. So I am fully recording long distance from you guys. I took my pants off. We are in full, like, cotton panty situation. I'm sweating. The back of my knees are sweating. I'm just
back of the knee sweat is the worst.
Girl, dude, I was waiting on tables today. Not many, because it's too hot to eat outside, because
Yeah.
it's the only way that you can eat out.
It's
nowadays
over
in
100
California, is if
degrees.
You're eating outside,
Horrible.
and I'm in, like, long sleeves that are rolled up, and jeans and shoes, and it's
Girl.
dude. How
I
we're gonna try to make it through this weekend?
do.
I'm like, the last heat wave that we had, I actually had a server pass out
Oof.
at one point
Oh,
because it
Jesus.
was over 100, They have water and everything like that. We have water stations for our servers. I don't know, like they're penguins or something. But
Just spray them down. A quick spritz with like a spray bottle, a mist.
But still, I'm just like, if you do decide to go to a restaurant and it is over 100 degrees outside, why don't you think about the people that have to bring you all that stuff and other tables, all that stuff. All day.
All day.
I'm just saying.
Yeah,
I'm just
it's nice
saying,
to point out.
Maybe be
I mean,
kind.
let me tell you guys right now. Sometimes I like double think things before I say them. I'm like, do you really want to put this out in the world? But I really do feel like I have like a WAP situation and I'm not even aroused at all. Like, it's just like these cotton panties. They just retain moisture
You say cotton
in a
panties
way.
one more time. I swear to God.
I'm sorry.
I'm out.
No, it's not wet ass pussy because that's a pleasant experience. It's something else. We have to come up with another acronym.
Sweat
because
ass
I
pussy?
had that today as well, and it wasn't wet. It was more like just damp.
It's yes. Oh yes. It's like
Ew,
yes.
God.
It's more like
It's
damp
damp.
damp
It
ass
is.
pussy.
Oh, it's bad.
You're just like,
It's not good. But that does bring me to the
It's
next
not.
thing that I want to talk about. Man, God, you know what? The internet is forever. Do you guys ever think about that sometimes? Like the shit we say on this podcast,
Yes.
like the internet is forever. Someday my grandchildren
Yep.
will listen to this and they'll be like, what the actual fuck? But
and be like, Ashley, it's your bedtime.
I need you to turn that off.
Ashley.
But
That's my grandma's
sent-
name. Ashley.
But okay, on that note, I sent you guys a video of grandmas reacting
good.
to hearing WAP.
So fucking amazing.
I watched
So
it today
amazing.
and it was a bright spot in my day. Like I rewatched it because I was like, you know what? I could use a
Dude.
little sunshine.
First of all, if you don't think your
Oh, wait.
grandma sucked
Sorry.
dick, you're wrong. Because
100.
she did. People have been sucking dick since the fucking dawn of time. Your grandma's a freak. Everyone's grandma's a freak. So there. You don't think your grandma hasn't said some whack-ass, crazy-ass, wild shit to your
Oh,
grandpa. She
100.
has.
She totally
She
has.
li-
Listen,
100.
your grandma and grandpa
So
have done some
nothing
fucked
that-
up shit. 100%. Like,
Your great-grandparents, your great-great-great-great-great
you know what? They were probably
grandparents
freakier.
have said some wild
They
ass
were
shit.
freakier than us, for sure.
Absolutely.
Because they had more time on
Absolutely.
their hands. Like, have you heard that, like, Gen Z is, like, the least interested generation in sex? Because, like, they have other shit to
Technology
do.
kids.
Why would you want to have sex when you can watch The Vow on
Oh,
HBO?
my God.
I'm just like, we have so many other things to do. I'm just like, your
Technology.
grandparents didn't.
That's
So
right.
they were thinking up some wild ass shit to do. in
That's
bed.
why people were having 13, 15 kids and shit.
Yeah, but, like, what do you think the person who wrote the Kama Sutra, like, like, who has the time? Like, nobody is just sitting around being like, you want to try this? You want to try this? You want to try it
They have
upside
books
down?
Like Joyous Sex. They have books like Joyous Sex. Like,
No one has the
Grandma
time
was
for that
getting it.
shit anymore, okay? We're busy.
Yeah. No, did you see somebody did post on the I think the Facebook group where they were talking about there's a position where the girl is on top, the guy's legs, so the guy is on his back on the
Okay.
bed.
okay.
The guy's legs are over the girl's shoulders and she's riding his dick.
I've done
way.
that.
How?
I have not.
I've
Wait,
done
are you
that.
facing him or facing the other direction?
You're facing him.
No, see, that's what I was thinking too. Is like I was like,
That's a really
I think
flexible
I'd like
guy.
that facing the other direction.
Yeah.
But I don't know if I'd like it that direction.
That seems like a
But-
really flexible guy.
This is what our grandparents figured
They
out.
sure did.
You know what I mean?
They sure did.
And then drew it. Had the time to illustrate.
That's what I'm saying, okay? As somebody who was scarred, no, I'm not putting people on blast like that. Never mind. But I will say, yes, I have if you have flipped through the Kama Sutra, you have to know that ancient shit, someone took the time to not only come up with all the positions, but then paint them in detail, like each one. So...
So yeah,
That's
they're freaks.
ancient WAP.
That's right. That's right. Everybody
WAP.
pointing to this shit. All of us Puritans in this country, like pointing to WAP and being like, "Can you believe it?" It's like people always been freaks. They've been freaks since the dawn of time. Like,
and that's what your post showed me. Those grandmas,
they got down.
The majority of them were not.
They weren't scandalized.
Offended
They were not scandalized.
They fucking know what's up. They were not.
If anything, in that
all.
first video I sent you guys, it was the grandpa who was like a low key like, we have to turn this off. Like the grandma was like getting down, man. She was.
Yeah, she was
into it.
No, because women's sexuality has always scared men. It has always scared the patriarchy because it's so much more complicated, so much more.
Mysterious, dare I say.
Not trying to like turn off our male listeners, but women's sexuality is fucking powerful. It's
okay. Well, I have something that because I was perusing through Twitter like I do, and I saw that Carole Baskin
yes,
and Nelly
yes,
are going to be on Dancing with the Stars.
I'm into it. Yes,
I don't even watch Dancing with the Stars, but Carole Baskin.
Am I going to watch it? Yes.
Can I tell you, I have never ever watched a season of Dancing with the Stars. I'm
just
not
my
saying that
cup of
to be
tea.
like proud of it or anything.
I mean,
like
I
that.
hope not, because I went and saw it
anybody
live.
that
So
does.
there's that.
My mom loves that show. That's the only time I've ever watched that show is when I'm home and my mom has it on the television. And I happen to know that
yes,
the amount of crazy people
yes.
that have
And
been on
look,
that
I can tell
show,
you,
Jesus Christ.
having
And
watched
it's been on for like 20
as many
years now
episodes
or
/
something.
seasons
It's like insane.
of that show as I have, I can tell you that Carole Baskin is not going to be a good dancer. She might surprise us, okay? There's always somebody who comes out of left field and you're like, I didn't see it. I'm a little impressed. But most likely, she's going to suck at dancing. But I would bet money, because I would bet money that she makes it the first couple weeks just because people want to see her crazy on TV. They want to get to the most memorable year episode where she talks about the year her husband went missing, and we all have our fucking ears to the television waiting for her to make an on-screen confession, okay? Like, we're all ready. We're ready. But you know what I saw?
Yep.
So we've got Carole Baskin. We've got Nelly. You know who else is on here? And it actually made me think of a possible FMK. Jesse Metcalf. Do you guys remember Jesse Metcalf? I feel like...
Kind of.
Did you ever see, like, John Tucker Must Die?
His name is familiar.
No? Okay. So... there's an entire like generation of early 2000s heartthrobs. So like Shane West falls in this category, like Josh Hartnett falls in this category, like
I know him.
early 2000s heartthrobs who were everywhere. As somebody who had a subscription to Cosmo Girl, they were on the cover of Cosmo Girl teen like magazines, Teen 17, whatever.
Yeah.
And they just kind of disappeared. Like they fell off.
Yeah.
They fell off the edge of the earth. And I don't know quite how it happened. But they were like big deals.
Well, I think that's with like any generation has that like group that kind of fell off. I think there's that one group of like that boy, the pack, like, the, what were they, like the Brat Pack that kind of seemed to stick around and go further, like Johnny Depp and all those guys. But really, I think almost every generation's got this little like kind of flash in the pan.
I mean, maybe, but I feel like
stick around.
As time went on, maybe it's because the internet became more accessible. But like Zac Efron, like Justin Bieber, like all of these people have stuck around, and they came of age around the same time that I came of age, and they're still big deals. But these people specifically, like Josh Hartnett, he came back because he was on Penny Dreadful. But like Shane West, he was in like A Walk to Remember. He was all over the place, and then he just
I literally have no clue who that is.
vanished. If you Googled him, you'd know.
I will.
But you also have, to Cassie's point, you have people like what's his face from Idle
Who?
Hands.
I don't know what
We
that
did
is.
a Fuck, Marry, Kill with him. Cassie, you remember that movie Idle Hands?
Oh, Edward Furlong.
Okay,
Oh,
but
hell
Edward,
yeah.
but
I had
Edward
a big
Furlong had a
crush on
drug
him.
problem. Okay, like if you have a drug problem, it's gonna ruin your career.
Yeah, but it's the same thing where he's like, he was fucking hot shit for a second. He was in the Teen Beat magazines. He was like everybody's fucking crush, and then he disappeared. And now we all find out later it's because he had a drug problem, but he did.
He also
just
didn't stay
flash in the
cute, which
pan,
is a big
disappeared.
deal. You got to maintain that cuteness. You got to stay hot, which
Didn't happen.
I have to
Big
say, I
deal.
think that all three of them, like Shane West, Jesse Metcalf, like they all look good still. So I'm like, what happened? I don't understand.
Definitely feel like I know Jesse Metcalf.
All right, I'm looking them up right now.
Hey,
I
you,
still
do
don't.
not
I looked him up and I
How?
still don't know who he
I'm gonna
is.
be honest.
Oh, Jesse Metcalf was in
'Cause I'm
on
almost
Desperate
40.
Housewives. Okay.
Yes.
I do remember him.
yes.
Dude, by the way, both these people were born the same year as me. So they're my exact age. Shane West and Jesse Metcalf so far. So they're like both my exact age. Yeah,
Ooh,
he's all
Shane
right.
West is
What's
cute.
the other one you said?
Josh Hartnett.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I know who
Yeah,
Josh
Jesse
Hartnett
Metcalf.
is. What was it? Jesse Metcalf?
Josh Hartnett, it was super cute.
He's still
What the hell was he in?
cute.
I don't remember.
Why
It's
is
'cause they're-
everybody
He was in
with the
Black Hawk
fucking
Down.
goatee,
He was what?
dude? Ugh.
Black Hawk Down. Dude, also born same year as me. All three of these people that you just brought up, exactly the same age as
Yeah,
me.
Josh Hartnett worked a lot. Like Josh Hartnett was in Pearl Harbor. You guys, come on.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yep.
What was that rom-com he was in with Shannon? What's her face?
Oh, 40 Days and 40 Nights. Yep.
Yes, I just remember where he's trying to like
Not have sex for 40 days.
foreplay her with an orchid.
I've never seen it, but
That's right.
sounds
oh
messy.
My God.
Have you not
No.
seen it? He tries to like do foreplay with her with an orchid.
Absolutely not,
Ugh.
sir.
A little orchid.
Well, since you guys don't know them, we don't have to fuck, marry, kill them. It was just something that like I
No,
thought about because
no.
I was like, man, because I had like a subscription to Cosmo Girl. I got 17 magazine, and like these guys were fucking everywhere. They were on everything, and then they just
That's so funny that
disappeared.
like, all three of them are exactly the same age. That's so funny.
Wow.
'Cause normally, like-
I could probably do it, but it would just be based off of appearance.
no, that's no
Yeah.
fun.
Like, just looking at their.
Sorry, I brought it up. Now I feel like I've taken us way off track.
No, I mean I'm good with it. I'm sorry, I don't.
Do
know
you
who
want
Shane
to? Okay,
West
here's hold
and-
on. I'm gonna look up the new Dancing with the Stars cast, and we'll just fuck, marry, kill
Cast.
people in the 2020
We
cast.
got Nelly.
Yes.
We got Nelly. Let's see. We got
Anne
what's her
Heche.
name? I told you.
Anne Heche.
Oof.
Wow.
Stop.
She was divisive back in her day.
Yeah, she was. Oh my God, you guys! Did you hear about Niecy Nash
No.
got married
No?
to singer Jessica Betts in a surprise ceremony?
What?
No.
Yeah. I didn't even know that she was seeing anybody.
Me neither.
Let alone that I didn't know she was a lesbian.
Me neither.
Who knew?
Oh, okay.
But that's
So we have Carole Baskin. We have Anne Heche. We have AJ McLean from the Backstreet Boys. We have Jesse Metcalf. We have Nelly. We have Nev from Catfish. We have Johnny Weir, the figure skater. He's going to do amazing.
Mm-hmm. He's going to nail it.
Yeah.
And that's it. I mean, that's it that we would know.
I'm definitely down for Nev.
All right. Okay, let's do Nev. I'm going to throw Anne Heche in there because that's a wild card.
Yes. that is
wild.
a wild card.
What about you, Christina?
Dude, that Ellen stuff is throughout the summer, like whether or not her show's going to get canceled because apparently she's a giant bitch, has been like enthralling to me. Honestly. I don't know why. It's probably a little bit of my vacuuming the grass and also a little bit of like us liking to watch successful people fail.
Well, it's also
You know,
it's also a
almost like-
testament of like no matter how rich and famous you get, continue to treat people with kindness, like genuine kindness, especially if that's what your brand is built on. You can't afford to let that mask slip. You can't. Like if that's what if that's going to be the like we all have bad days. I've definitely been not so nice to people because I've been having a bad day or whatever. And like maybe that's the case.
Just ask Anthony.
But when you're Ellen and you're a multi-billionaire, not billionaire, you're a multi-millionaire, and your platform is built on being nice, you can't afford to
nice to
have
people,
bad
right.
days like that with people.
I can tell you, I'd be a lot happier some days that I wasn't so happy if I was a multi-billionaire.
Right.
Sure.
I'm just saying.
Right. Yeah.
You wouldn't have
Be
to
a
work.
lot fucking nice to the people that were making me that.
That's right.
just
Oh my God. You know, like,
my 2 cents.
yes. Yeah. Agree. Okay, Christina, who do you want from this list for us to fuck, marry, kill? So we've got Anne Heche, we've got Nev Schulman,
And Carole fucking
and
Baskin.
Carole
Are you
fucking
kidding me?
Baskin. Okay. Okay. Oh my God, I don't know what I'm going to do. This is a mess.
I think I know what I'm going to do.
Okay.
I think I know. I am going to marry Nev. He seems like a super upright guy. He's out there, you know, trying to catch people, fucking other people over. I like that. I think I'm going to fuck Anne Heche.
Okay. She's
I don't
seen
want to
aliens.
keep her
So
in my life.
you guys
don't
remember
want
all that
to.
shit in the 90s when she's like, I was abducted by aliens.
Look, I ain't trying to have you stick around. You know what I'm saying? Like, but
That kind
We
of
can-
crazy
we can
is fun
fuck.
for a night. Yeah.
right, exactly. One night. And then, as much as I don't believe the anti-Carole Baskins hype, I am going to kill Carole Baskins.
Okay.
I might have
Okay.
to cover her in sardine oil to do it, but
Okay. I am going to also marry Nev. And this is a little bit hesitant on my part because it's not his fault, but there is something about him. I loved watching the show Catfish. I like the documentary Catfish. There is something about Nev that I can't put my finger on that I don't love.
I'm the same.
Like,
I'm
I
the
think
same.
he's so cute.
He is cute. Like, it's not that he's not cute. And he does like a lot of things where he's encouraging men to like get in touch with their emotions. On the surface, it's all very good. But there is just something about him that I'm like, I don't love. However, given our options, and given the fact that maybe it's just me being weird about him, I'm going to go ahead and marry him. Although that man is one of the hairiest men I've ever seen. Like, have you seen Nev? Lord, it looks like
Have you seen my husband?
at least Chris's hair is like red, like blonde red. Like Nev's hair is like thick, like triple C thick. Like he looks like he's wearing a sweater, man, when he takes his shirt off. But it's all good. I'm still going to marry him like gravy. Cool. I am going to, this is going to be divisive. I'm going to fuck Carole Baskin. Because-
oh my
divisive.
God, no.
Because she a freak. She is a freak with 7 days a week, capital F. Like that
That
bitch.
is some basic instinct shit.
She-
dude, you better check under the pillows and stuff. Make sure there ain't no ice pick there.
She is, do you, look, That woman, she's got something if she is able to convince a grown-ass man to put on a collar and a leash on his wedding day. All right? So, and she's got that collar. Like, she has an entire box. Like, she's got a fun box under her bed that she's going to pull out. It's going to be like whips, collars, weird shit. We're going to wear nothing but animal print. Yep. Okay?
Hey, all you cool cats.
Yes.
And kittens.
And look, it's going to be weird. I'm not even saying it's going to be good, but it is going to be an experience.
It's going to be something.
All right? Yeah, it's going to be something. So
it'll be a story.
It'll be a story. Sure. Okay. So yeah, I'm going to stick with that. And no offense to Anne Heche at all. I don't have anything against Anne Heche, but I'm going to kill Anne Heche.
Okay. Thought about it. Here's what I'm going to do.
All right.
I'm going to marry Anne Heche.
All right.
Here's the thing.
Okay.
Anne Heche just wants to be loved.
She does. I feel like her and I love on very similar wavelengths in that, like, we're both a little bit crazy. We both like words of affirmation. We both like, I just feel like we are going to eat, pray, love the fuck out of the world.
She's going to tell you all about her alien experience, and you're going to eat that shit up.
We can talk about soup or not talk for hours.
We can talk or not talk for hours.
Exactly.
You know what Anne Heche would do? She'd do tantric sex with you. Just like sitting silently.
Oh my God.
Anne Heche would be game to try all the weird shit that's in my head. And I'm like, okay, like I'm down for it. Like there's something about it that I feel like works with us. I can't quite put my finger on it, but I'm like, Anne Heche and I would make an incredible married couple.
You guys would be that very weird couple that stays married for like the rest of your lives.
So weird.
You're going to die a day apart from each other. You're connected on like an astral plane.
Yes.
So true. And then I think I'm gonna fuck Nev, honestly, because I think it would be a weird, fun night where we talk about like psychology and how fucked up people are and stuff, and it'll be fun and it'll be interesting and everything. And I gotta say, like, Carole Baskin,
she's nuts.
There is. That is, it's the so opposite of WAP. Carole Baskin. It is so opposite where I'm just like, there's not anything because she would lick you, and all I can think of is like when my cat licks me in that sandpaper tongue.
I just want to know what she's like in the bedroom because I feel like she's going to surprise you. Like she's going to bite you like out of nowhere. You know what I mean?
Like it's the least sexy. It's going to be the least sexy. Like just the thought of her trying to alpha me makes me gag.
Exactly.
Well, I'll do it and I'll report back.
Ugh.
If I make it out.
Please
if I make it out alive.
No. I'll never believe that you took a private plane to Mexico to do whatever. So believe me, I will avenge your death.
Thank you so much.
I'm not traveling that path. For sure.
No, thank you. Oh God.
Well, you guys want to take 5 and we'll come back with stories?
Sounds good.
We have.
Oh wait.
Wait.
We have new patrons. Yes, we do. Okay, hold on. Just 1 second.
We have a ton of new patrons, and God bless you. Thank you so much for coming out. Like, the past week has been really amazing.
Well, not to rain on your parade, but I think we only have one actual new patron.
No, we have 2. We have 2 new patrons and 2 patrons that have raised their
up their
pledge.
Oh, yes, we do. We have 2. Okay. Here we go. So I'd like to give a shout out to our 2 new patrons, Heather Rutherford Visneski. I hope I didn't absolutely fuck that up. I did. But thank you so much, Heather, for joining us. We're super excited to have you with us on Patreon. And a big shout out to Stacy Lower for joining us on Patreon. And then we do have some existing patrons who have either upped their pledges or they've had to leave, but then they've come back. And we see you. We appreciate you. We know in these trying times, TM, how hard it is to do that. And so we greatly, greatly appreciate it. My mind has been abuzz with new things to do. So I'm super excited. And yeah, thank you so much.
Yeah.
Yay. Well, do you guys want to take 5 and come back with stories?
Yes.
And we're back. All right, Cassie, you want to kick us off with stories?
Yeah, sounds good. So I got the story from Reddit. It says, so me and this girl really hit it off and we decided to hang out and see how things worked out in person. She came over to my house first so we can eat there and then head off to a nearby field/park area just to hang out and talk.
A field is a weird way to put that. I don't want to go to a field with anybody.
I like, would you like field/park? So I'm assuming kind of like more like a sports
right.
field
I like that he added park because I'm just like, meet me in an open field for a romantic first date. I would rather not. Thank you so much.
Hey, you know that yellow house that the Parkers live in? Let's meet in that wheat field.
Yes, like a honey.
Mile from there.
Speaking of our grandparents, like, is this 1919?
Right? So, turns out she's lactose intolerant and wheat intolerant. I asked what she can have, and she said anything. But I guess her wheat intolerant isn't that bad, and she had taken a lactate pill, so she chose a sandwich with wheat bread and a glass of milk. So we finish eating.
What?
And we drive.
Why, ma'am? There's so many things you could eat that you're not allergic to.
A glass of
Why
milk.
would you do this? And again, is it 1919? Who outside of 1919 is drinking a glass of milk? No one does that anymore.
I'm like, I think my mom stopped making me like drink a glass of milk with dinner when I was like 6.
Yeah, my grandparents used to make me drink a glass of milk with dinner. Like, what? Okay, it's fine. Whatever. Continue.
All right. So we finish eating. We drive over to a nearby field that she wanted to go. So we just sit in the park and relax and talk for a while.
Wait. So they went from one field to an alternate
They're
field?
field hopping. Like, why? What town are you living in? I don't understand what's happening here.
This is a good field for eating, and then this is the field I want to go like make out in.
No, I said no.
This is the field you drink your milk in.
What are you talking about? I literally said we're going to his house first to eat.
Sorry.
Then they're going to.
I missed that.
sorry.
I'm so sorry. I was with Christina. I was like, how many fields are in this story? Okay, sorry. We're going to the field she wants to go to.
One. Just the one. All right. Things for the first hour were good. And we were really hitting it off. About an hour and a half in, she starts holding her stomach. I ask, is she all right? And she's like, yeah, it's probably just some gas. About 10 minutes go by. And she is still holding her stomach. And she doesn't seem to be focusing too much on me talking anymore. She starts tensing up and grabbing her stomach really hard. Once again, I ask if she's all right. And she says, yeah, I think I just... And she cuts me off by the most slimy, loudest stomach growl I have ever heard.
No.
It sounded like her bowels had just attempted to come out of her
Ew.
body. Her eyes go wide. And she gets up, holding her stomach and ass cheeks. I ask, what's wrong? And she says, I need a bathroom now. So we look around for a minute, and there isn't a bathroom in sight. Her only hope is if she can hold it until I can drive her home and she can use my bathroom.
Okay, you got to flush yourself down that toilet because, like, there's no recovering. I would be so embarrassed on
No, but here's the thing.
I pitched that
idea.
idea.
Are not like in North Hollywood outside the Federal. You're in a fucking field. So like at the end of the day, when emergency strikes, at least you're in the great outdoors where like I mean, you're not going to go to
But it's
Pound
like a
Town
park.
that date, but
But like,
it's
how do you?
so much
but
better to
I'm
shit
so
in a
sorry.
field than to shit outside the Abbey. You know what I mean?
I'm so sorry to everybody listening, but like, how do you?
There's a
how
bathroom at the Abbey.
How do you wipe though?
No,
Like, because
you don't.
clearly
So-
she.
You don't in either.
So you throw those
situation,
pants
you
away?
just pull your pants up, and you're like, you go about your business.
Oh.
You're not going. You're not. Opening a checking account kind of business, but you're at least getting home.
Oh, the feeling between this. Oh, okay, all right, it's fine. Go ahead.
Okay. I pitched that idea to her. The idea, by the way, was to drive her home so she could use his bathroom. And as I do, I hear a huge, wet, watery fart. Then I see a waterfall of brown
Stop.
liquid pour out of her
Stop.
pants.
Stop.
We both just stand there looking
No.
at each other. And then she starts crying. I tell her to stay calm, go behind that tree over there. And I ran to a nearby clothing store and bought a pair of underwear and pants, even though I don't even know her size. I got back and gave her the clothes. Luckily, the park was about to close, so almost nobody was there. So she just changed behind the tree. The pants were a bit big, but oh well. She discarded her old pants in the trash. And we hopped in my car and went back to my place. The second she gets out of my car and intestines make another good
No.
God awful noise.
No.
The door is unlocked, so she bolts in the house, not even having time to close the bathroom door. And the second she sat on the toilet, I'm not kidding when I say it sounded like a hose spraying inside the toilet. She came out 10 minutes later, and she just laid down on my lap for like 10 minutes until she had to go again. She stayed at my house the whole night. I would say she violently destroyed my toilet for about 12 times that day.
I feel so
next
bad
morning.
for her. I feel so bad for her. But at the same time,
God.
honey, why did you drink a
Girl,
glass of milk?
Lactate ain't it.
And why did
It
you
ain't
eat
it.
wheat bread? She's like, I'm lactose intolerant
Lactate ain't
and like
it.
gluten. So she like doubled down on her
Girl.
like shit. Like,
Oh, Lord. You know that was common. Oh, the next morning we wake up next to each other.
What?
The first thing she says or does is apologize to me. I told her not to worry. This kind of stuff happens to the best of everybody. We hug and she calls an Uber home because she lives like half an hour away. After that, and that was the start of an amazing relationship.
What?
yeah.
That took a turn.
God.
God bless a happy ending.
I'm God bless a happy ending. Oh my God. Wow. Okay. That's my nightmare. That's my like the wake up sweating in the middle of the night nightmare. Wow.
Dude,
No.
I
mean,
that you don't fuck around with dairy if you got that lactose, yo.
dude, I've shared the thing. It's just like, especially the older you get, and it's like, okay, we fart, we have liquid shits, we have our periods, we have all these other things, and it's just like so fucking refreshing to not have to, because it's hard enough to have liquid shits. It's even harder
Yeah.
to try to hide it, to try to be perfect all the time, to be like, I don't poop, I don't fart, I don't do anything. I'm like, I'm not a fucking Barbie doll. I'm a real human. If I eat something that disagrees with me, I'm going to fucking paint the inside of a toilet
Dude,
bowl.
oh,
That's what's
God.
going to
That
happen.
that didn't just disagree with her. That was a full on fight.
Keegan, you poop.
Oh, don't you
Girl, you
ever
poop.
say that about me again, Christina. How dare you?
First of all,
First, number one. Defamatory.
Number one.
Defamatory.
How dare you.
Slander. How dare you? Oh, okay. So I got this on Reddit as well. On the subreddit Ask Women, okay? And
oh, okay.
I wasn't sure if I wanted to tell this one on the podcast, and for reasons that we'll get into like as I'm reading it. But I read it aloud to Anthony, and he agreed that it had things to discuss. So
Okay.
here we go. I met this guy online. I've online dated before, so I like to meet really quickly. Just chat for a few minutes and see if we get along somewhat and then move on to coffee or whatever. I get that. I think Christina shared a similar kind of like thing where it's just like, come on, get the show on the road, right?
Right. Because that first date, and that's the thing, is that like it makes me crazy how much the people like put so much stock into that first meetup. And it's like, just talk, see if you get a normal vibe from them, meet them daytime in a public place, like just for a meetup to see if then you want to go on a first date.
Right. And if not, then you can go on to the next and doesn't waste your time. Like, I'm totally with it.
Yeah.
This guy and I were slated to meet, and I messaged him to confirm. He replied, I would. It's just my feet are super sore. Can we reschedule?
What?
All right. I don't know. Maybe he went on a hike. I
Okay.
can't look. Parts of my body have been sore that have never been sore before from the amount of working out we've been doing. So who knows? Maybe he had sore arches. I don't know. I was kind of like, what the fuck? But sure. As a result, we ended up chatting a lot online. He was super funny, but there were a couple of flags in chronological order as they appeared. 1, when I asked him how long he had worked as a mail sorter at the post office, he replied, 5 years, 35 more to go. I guess it seemed really unambitious to me and was a bit of a turnoff, but whatever. That's not an issue for me. I'm like,
No.
not everybody has to.
I mean, having a retirement plan, there's nothing wrong with that. Like, you just want to,
You got a man
see the
who's got a
problem there.
government job. Okay. He's got
Hey,
good
that's right.
benefits.
You got a man that's got a job. Speaking of somebody
Period.
who's been in a position where they don't always like.
Yes, exactly. I'm like, that one wasn't as much of a red flag to me. But you know what? Some people, that stuff matters to. I don't know. 2, talked about how he was a Scorpio and super sexual and had like a pinning gaze or something. Described how he fixed this girl in the mailroom with his stare and he could see her get uncomfortable, so he kept doing it. He thought it was all sexual like, but I see her being completely creeped out. I can guarantee you she was creeped the fuck out.
Yep. I was just gonna say now we've got a solidly red. We're talking burgundy color flag. Where I'm just like,
It's waving frantically. Yes.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Nope.
3, he still and always had lived with his parents at 28. 4, had met all of his girlfriends online. 5, wanted me to commit to being his girlfriend before we met.
Nope.
No.
And we're
No.
out.
No.
Christina
And we're out.
has officially left the chat.
Agree. Despite all this,
Goodbye.
he was really funny and seemed pretty normal. He also told me he was slightly hard of hearing. This seems normal. I'm concerned for you. But
Despite these crazy wild red flags, he seemed
okay. Like, that's where the bar's at when you're
Dude,
dating online. You're like, this is fine.
Online dating, literally, like, like, I'm trying to think of the limbo where, like, the bar, like, goes through notches and gets lower and lower. With online dating, it literally is on the fucking floor. You see the most wild ass shit where you're like, you ignore some red fucking flags. You really do.
Exactly. He also told me that he was slightly hard of hearing, but he had just gotten his hearing aid fixed, so he was, quote, good to go. We were going to meet in his town where I worked, and he asked me where I wanted to eat. I said he knew the town better than me, but I was in the mood for Italian. So the next day, I'm sitting at a cafe waiting to meet him when someone taps me on the shoulder. I turn around, and there he is, 100 pounds larger than his profile picture, with long, greasy hair, unshaven, giant blue sweatpants, and a blue hoodie. Okay, so here's where I wanted to get into this, because again, I feel like this comes up on the podcast a lot. It is not a criticism of his size.
No.
It is it's him misrepresenting himself to her. That's the problem.
That's right.
And it's him showing up unwashed in a sweatsuit to their first date. Yep. That is a problem.
Sir.
Yep.
Okay.
That's a no.
Sir, you are not going to your friend's house to play World
That's
of
right.
Warcraft. This is
You're making a first impression on somebody,
And
okay?
Not
like
only that, like I wonder. I always tried to keep my pictures up to date, where I'm just like, that's my worst fear, is letting someone down in general. Where I couldn't even fathom having an out of date picture and showing up, and I'm so attuned to people's like slight changes, where like
yes,
the very first
the
time
disappointment,
they see you and you are not what they expected you to be, like how would that not hurt you worse? Do you know what I mean?
Exactly. I feel the same way.
Yeah.
I feel the same way. Okay, blah, 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 blah. And he looked so sloppy and disheveled. I stand up and greet him, and he gives me a long, awkward hug. He had told me later that he does that to assess the connection. Don't like that.
What?
Like, he hugged her for an awkwardly long period of time because he was assessing their connection.
No.
I don't like that.
That's no.
I asked him how his day was, and he said nothing and sat down and started writing on a piece of paper. I repeated my question, and he ignored me, kept writing. Finally, he slid it over. He was profoundly deaf, and he couldn't speak. So we had a completely silent date, writing back and forth on pieces of paper. Okay, so pause again. So, again, this is not anything to do with disabilities.
No.
I'm not shaming dating people who have disabilities, but you do have to let people know. It won't deter the right people from going on a date with you. It won't. But you can't misrepresent yourself online and say that you're just a little hard of hearing, but you're going to be fine because you have a hearing aid in, and then get there and not even be able to speak to the other person.
I've had this same conversation with Handyman, where it's like misrepresentation online in general, where you're like, I am of the opinion that he should be super upfront about his situation, about being married.
Yes,
and,
should.
And all of that, because I'm like, you will get less swipes. Absolutely.
Yes.
You will.
Mm-hmm.
But the ones you do get, know upfront what they're getting into, and it's quality over quantity.
That's right. And it saves you both time. It saves you both time.
Right.
Because what he's doing here, like, it's just not fair. It's just not fair to the other person. And it's very manipulative, in my opinion, and it makes me feel like he deliberately put off having a first date with her. Mm-hmm. Because he wanted to try, we've seen it a lot on this podcast, he wanted to try and woo her with his personality, which I understand. I don't mean to come across as being like insensitive, because I do get it. I understand, like, if you have issues with your body and the way it looks, or you're self-conscious about your disability, or like any of that stuff, it makes it very easy to want to misrepresent yourself.
Yeah.
But you should just be honest, because someone out there is going to love you for who you are.
Absolutely.
It's not going to matter. So anyway,
it's going to take longer to get to them the more time that you waste.
That's right. Exactly. You're wasting your own time.
Wasting time.
Yeah, I agree. I should have just left, but I didn't. He took me out to his vehicle, an old Suzuki Sidekick, and swept trash and old food packaging off the passenger seat for me to sit on. He then took me to an Italian place, Boston Pizza.
Oh, you know what I think of when I think Italian? Boston. First and foremost.
Honey.
What?
By the time the appetizers came, he had suggested via paper scrap that we take dessert home to enjoy intimately. I explained there was no spark for me. He continued making those suggestions and trying to convince me via paper scrap all night. Lots of questioning my reasoning and explaining how I couldn't actually know until we were intimate together. Stop it.
I think we know.
I also didn't realize it until about halfway through the night, but he was saving all of the scraps of paper. I don't know why that detail is creepy to me. The icing on the cake was our server. Towards the end of the night, she was giving us our bill or something, and he slid her a piece of paper. She read it, laughed awkwardly, and said, haha, no. I must have looked confused.
Oh, no.
So he let me read it. This is what it said. We were wondering if we could have you for dessert.
Oh my God.
My face.
Oh my, no.
Look at the big balls on Brad.
What?
I know, man. Like confident Scorpio.
Oh.
Okay, Scorpio vibes over here, I guess. Everyone who's a Scorpio who's listening is like, how dare you?
Oh, no.
My face turned red and I looked at her. I wasn't wondering that. I'm sorry, I said. She said, yeah, I figured.
Oh,
She's like, I'm a server. I've seen this
my.
shit all day, every day. I know what's up.
Fucking men.
The
Ugh.
thing I regret most, and this is what I related to most about her story. The thing I regret most about the date was that I staged to avoid hurting his feelings. At the end, I was like, well, thanks for everything. Talk soon. And it wasn't until I got home that I sent him a message that I found him misleading, sexually inappropriate, and incredibly sexually aggressive.
Mm-hmm.
He was incredulous.
Yeah.
It was a testament to my people
Of course.
pleasing that I didn't just walk away. At least I have a story now.
Yep. No, it's
Wow.
hard. It's hard to tell people the truth face to face. And it's even harder when you're a woman, when you're smaller. When we're brought up to I mean, there's a billion different reasons why women don't tell the truth face to face. You know?
Yeah.
Where we just like to get it over with, and then we'll ghost or tell you the truth sometime later or whatever. It just
Or say it real fast via text and then block you.
exactly. You don't have to fear for your life the same way that we do. So I don't know. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, for sure.
Okay, you guys ready?
Bitch, I swear to God, if I actually cry.
I think you might.
Oh, for fuck's
You
sake.
did.
Don't do this to me.
Okay. So this was sent via our email just like yesterday. So right in the nick of time, right before we were recorded. And the subject is my worst relationship. And the message is, hello, ladies. I just want to start out saying that I found your podcast after listening to an episode of Basic Witches. And I'm so happy that I did. When I started listening, I thought the podcast was so funny and so relatable, and I love the camaraderie. I came for the laughs, and I stayed for the community and the support it gives.
Oh.
Okay, so spring 2004, I was a freshman in high school and met
Me too. We're the same age.
Justin, a senior. To paint a picture for you, I was the quiet girl, an AB student who didn't really fit in with any particular crowd but was friendly with everyone. I was that nice, quiet girl. Justin, on the other hand, was the D student who had to do extra credit work in order to graduate on time. He was the white.
Of course he was.
He was the boy who wore brands like Echo in sizes about 2 sizes too
Aw.
big.
Of course he was. Did we go
Yep.
to the same high school? Is Justin somebody I know? Did I have a crush on Justin? Probably. Did he wear skater shoes that were way too big for his feet? Yes, probably.
He drove a gold Subaru Legacy and had a stereo system that vibrated the entire car while listening to 3-6
Perfect.
Mafia.
Oh my
Perfect.
God. Oh my God. Okay. Okay. I'm having flashbacks. It's hot in here.
So he showed interest in me, and I thought he was so hot and was instantly hooked.
All of us who are now grown are looking back and we're like, stop, wait, stop, don't do it. Hey, it's a mistake.
Right,
Do
right.
it.
I know he looks appealing, but don't do it.
I spent all of my free time with Justin. There was actually a schedule I had to adhere to for most of our relationship. As soon as I'd wake up, I either had to email him during the week and school year or get on AIM and start talking with him. If I didn't, I was cheating on him.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Oh, no. Listen.
Every minute.
Get me off this ride.
Every minute that wasn't spent in school or asleep, we'd be together in person or chatting. We would hang out with his friends all the time, but never my friends. Before bed, I had to call him and talk to him until I was about to fall asleep. I even did end up falling asleep sometimes. There would be nights where I'd pretend to go to sleep and stay up late just to have time for myself. If I ever woke up late, and he would know by the timestamp on my morning emails, it was because I was cheating on him. If I wanted to hang out with my friends, he'd get pissed off and say it's because I wanted to cheat on him. One time, I was visiting my cousins who I haven't seen in years. They'd recently moved back from out of state. Justin was out of town for the day, so I was able to go visit. It was getting late and time to go home, but my cousins had been drinking, so they couldn't drive, and I didn't have a car. My cousin's guy friend, probably fuckboy, came over and offered me a ride home. I declined because I didn't know him, and I knew Justin would get mad. Eventually, Justin came back into town pretty late and came to pick me up. He was pissed that I wasn't already home. I told him that the dude offered me a ride home, but I said no, otherwise I would have been home already. He told me, completely serious, good, because you probably would have sucked his dick.
Oh, what in the fuck, dude? Fucking what the fuck?
I never gave him any reason to think I'd cheat on him. When would I even have the time? He controlled my life. This went on for 2 years. I was constantly called a skank, stupid bitch, slut, and constantly being accused of cheating on him.
Wow.
Finally, after 2 years of this, I did cheat on him. I had so much guilt the day after that I confessed it to him.
No.
Oh,
No.
no.
You know what? Normally, I would be all about transparency in a relationship. But in this case, this person is volatile and dangerous. Yeah.
During this time, I was so scared to break up with him, I didn't know how to and felt that this was my way out. But after a lot of name-calling and crying and me telling him I can't be with someone who constantly calls me names and accuses me of things I hadn't done up until now, he apologized and said he would change and wanted to work things out. I was 17 and he was 20. I agreed to stay together.
No.
He changed for a week and then went right back to emotionally abusing me. He even went so far as to put some program on my computer that sent him emails of all the activity I did.
Oh my God.
He also yelled at me for looking at porn. I remember that day, I went down a rabbit hole of different categories. I was fascinated and curious. But of course, he told me I was fucking sick, and I have felt shame about porn ever since. Dude, you know I'm like lit on fire right now.
Fuck this
I
piece
am
of shit.
fucking on fire.
You know, the thing that makes me saddest about this story is that it's not unique at all. That I think a lot of women go through this, especially in their teens.
Yep.
So to me, like, I think that that's the thing that is breaking my heart the most, is that we didn't know any better and we just accepted this as normal, and that there's no guidance and nobody there to tell you, like, this isn't normal behavior and you don't have to accept
I'm surprised
this.
that her parents didn't.
They give us
I'm surprised her parents weren't like, what the fuck? You're on the phone with this guy all the time. Like, I can't believe somebody in her life wasn't like, seriously? He
live
controls
your
everything.
life for yourself, or like, and what makes me sad, that's what got me, is I'm like, you fucked with this person's sexuality. You know what I mean? Like their exploration, their curiosity, like giving them so much shame and guilt to carry through like their hottest years or whatever, like through their 20s. Like, fuck you.
Well, and
right.
it does. It takes years and years to undo that. Like, I mean, it could take another 10 years to work through that shit.
Yep. So about a month later, one of my best friends, more like an older, wiser sister, invited me to go camping with her and her friends. I got up the courage and told Justin I was going camping and I didn't want him to go. He threw a fit, calling me all kinds of names and said I was going to cheat on him. Then he broke up with me. I wasn't sad. I felt relieved, and I turned off my phone and had an absolute blast camping. When I got back in town and turned on my phone, I had a ton of voicemails ranging from him calling me all the names in the book to him crying and apologizing. Then when I got home, he was waiting for me in my room. Jesus. I was so uncomfortable. But
Again, this is where I'm with you, Cassie, where I'm like, where are your parents in this situation?
Right.
Because this behavior is so fucking obsessive and like, it's just classic abuser.
I feel like if she wanted to talk to you, she would have told me she wanted to, and she didn't. So get the fuck out of my house. Like, Right.
And if she's not answering her phone to you, maybe there's a reason. I
held my ground and said that I wasn't going to get back with him. He was so mad that he punched a hole in my wall. For months, he would show up at my house uninvited, crying, asking me to take him back. I remember, dude, if my dad caught wind of like any of that shit, my dad would lose his goddamn mind. He would
light you up.
But you know what's the thing about this story, I mean, I know I just said it and I just said it and this is repetitive, but like I knew how many Justins did I know in high school? Like so many. Like I knew so many guys like this in high school, just emotionally repressed fucking dudes. Like I'm not surprised that this happened, but it's fucking infuriating that this is just something that young women have to go through. You know, like it's just bullshit.
Jesus.
We need to do better. Like,
listen, my dad would have been like, I'm the only person who puts holes in this house. Oh, sorry. Too soon?
Yeah. She goes on to say that this entire relationship has been one huge shame receipt for me. I had reoccurring nightmares that we're back together and I have to break up with him again. I always wake up full of anxiety when I have these dreams. It's been 13 years and it still makes me cringe. I have told stories here and there about this relationship, but I've never told my closest friends and family. My older brother, who doesn't know about the abuse I took, is friends with Jason on Facebook, or Justin, and has made comments like, I don't know how you could do that to him. I know he doesn't know the whole story, but it still hurts. Maybe one day I'll tell him, but I think the shame is still too strong.
Okay, I need to tell you, you have absolutely fucking nothing to be ashamed about. You didn't do anything. Like, none of that stuff that happened to you is your fault whatsoever. That's not yours to carry, and I want you to take off that burden right fucking now. It doesn't mean you have to tell anybody, but I do want you to shed that burden because it's not your shame to carry. It is his shame to carry.
Yeah, absolutely. And here's the part that got me. Listening to your podcast has taught me that none of this was my fault. It's given me the permission to see it for what it was, manipulation and abuse. I was young and naive, and my mom was dating a drug dealer, Shorty, for another time. So I didn't exactly know what a healthy relationship looked like. Like I said, the shame is still strong, but your podcast gave me the permission I needed to forgive myself for staying in that relationship for as long as I did. I'm sitting here crying as I type this because I feel lighter, finally, after 13 years. I'm so grateful for your podcast. You ladies are doing a lot more than just retelling worst date stories. You have helped me begin the process of healing a 13-year-old wound. I am forever grateful. P.S. Cassie, I seriously love your voice. And I love when all three of you scream and show your genuine reactions to the stories you are reading. I am sad that I've caught up on your episodes, but I joined your Patreon and will start on all the movie reviews and bonus content. Can't wait. Love you, ladies.
Oh.
Oh my God.
When I think...
You guys,
I
she
know.
loves my voice. I'm sorry. Just kidding. I'm sorry. Wait.
Oh, it got me a second
No,
time.
that's
It's just because this has been such a fucking incredible thing for me this year because it's the way that I get to see you guys and you're my bestest friends in the whole world. And there's a million ways that like seeing you every week and recording with you heals me. But the idea that it does anything positive for anybody else in the world just really got to me this week when I was listening to it. And I'm just, you know, like we all carry, like we joke about our shame receipts, but think about all the things that they're tied to. What our shame receipts have held us back from doing, from saying to someone we love.
Right, and even what shame is, you know, like what is shame? And there's so much like toxic shame that we all have to deal with and live with. And yeah, we make jokes about it, and I love that we do that. But at the end of the day, it is actually really heavy. And I don't ever want to lose sight of how heavy it is. And I'm really, really proud of her for acknowledging the heaviness of it and beginning the process of healing that, because healing, it's so painful. I remember like I posted something on my Instagram that was like what I thought my like spiritual awakening would be like, right? And it's like endless knowledge, meditating all day, fucking forgiving everyone. And like what it is actually like is going through the darkness and realizing like the only way out is through.
Yep.
The only way out is like dealing with your shit and working through it. And so I'm so proud of her because that work is actually really hard. A lot of times, especially if there's trauma there, it's having to go back and analyze that trauma, those difficult parts of your life. It's really tough. So I'm so proud of you for beginning that work and for realizing and having that understanding that is very hard to have, especially for women, that it's not your fault.
No.
The way that somebody chose to treat you at 14 is not your fault.
No.
So thank you so much for writing in.
And also too, and I think the other side of that too is that it started at 14. I think that sometimes people can feel shame because it lasted longer than they feel is acceptable. And what you have to understand is that part of that is part of the grooming that happened to you during that period. It isn't because, you know, you just decided to stick with somebody who was a fucking piece of shit. It's because you were groomed to put up with a piece of shit.
That's right.
And I want to, as somebody who is a survivor of sexual abuse, it's not the same kind of abuse, but abuse of a different kind. I will say this, and this has been my personal experience. Obviously, I'm not a therapist and I can't speak for everyone. But the thing I can say is that sometimes when you go through stuff like this, people, a lot of times people are like, confront that person who did this to you. It'll make you feel better. Confront that person. Go to that person and tell them that you know what they did wasn't right. But what I'll tell you is this, from my own personal experiences, from the experiences that I've learned from multiple people, is this. Confronting a person who is an abuser is not necessarily therapeutic, nor is it healing. What a lot of times abusers cannot cope with, the fact that that's who they are. They can't see that that's who they are. They can't even come to terms with the idea that that's who they are or what they did. So for my own personal experience of confronting my abuser, which I knew before I did it, and this was the circumstance in which I did not want to have to do it. I was forced into the situation of having to do it because of other external things that were happening at the time. My abuser said to me, I don't ever remember doing these things that you're saying. I remember doing a little bit of, quote, grab-assing, but I don't ever remember doing any of this. Is that helpful? Or is that more harmful? And to me, that was more harmful. It's everything I expected my abuser to say, because I didn't expect my abuser to be like, oh my God, I'm so sorry. You're right. I'm a horrible person. And I can't believe I did these things. That's not the reaction. That's not the action you're going to get from an abuser. So what helped heal me is what you just did. What helped heal me was sharing my truth, sharing my story, sharing with my friends, saying it out loud, writing it down, putting it to truth, and putting that power back in my hands, and saying and realizing that what happened to me isn't my fault, A. B, I can only control myself, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I can only control how it controls me. And at some point, and you know, it's different for everybody. Again, I'm not a therapist, but I know what helped me was saying, I'm taking the power back. What you did will no longer control my life. I will choose a partner in my life who will never treat me this way. I will choose my actions to make sure that I have a better, fulfilled, happy, joyful life. And those are the things that, to me, I can control. And having the control of my life and allowing, you know, that abuser to take anything else from me, any little piece of me, shame, guilt, whatever, isn't helpful for my well-being and my future. So listen, we have nothing but love for you. I have 1,000. I have no words I'm so grateful that you were able to share that story with us. I hope in some way, even just getting it out in an email was a way for you to get some extra amount of peace with that, and know that you're so fucking worthy, and there is no shame or burden for you to carry. And
you're loved.
Take this coat off, girl.
Yeah, you're loved, and you're in good company. That's the other thing, is that like you're not alone. You're not alone in those feelings. You know, we all know people, or we ourselves have experienced things as well. And so don't ever feel shame about any of that, ever.
Yeah. People are, dude, I've been in her shoes. I carried shame about I mean, fuck, like, I'll say it and I won't cut it out. The big part of the thing I had to work out in my therapy was how long I stayed in my marriage, and in knowing for a long time that it was not serving me or him. People are messy, and we hurt each other, and shame is a very complicated feeling. And I'm so glad that you wrote that in. I'm so glad that our podcast triggered that for you in order for you to examine it and maybe let it go, because I don't feel like you have to feel any shame in that story whatsoever in reading it. And I'm just, I'm so happy that you found us and to have you as part of the tribe. So, yeah.
Me too.
Yeah. We love you, and we want you to know more than anything, you deserve joy and you deserve happiness.
Mm-hmm.
And that is what is in store for you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cassie, regale us with the crazy and love.
Great. Well, we'll say this. I'm glad that my story doesn't necessarily have a horrible ending. It's not great, but it's not necessarily horrible. Have you ever done a story where you're like going through all your notes and you're like, I swear to God, I have done this story. I swear one of us has done this story.
Mine.
And I had to go back.
I was like,
yes. Oh, that's right. I had to go back and look, and I was like, no, nobody has done this. I'm going to tell you guys the story of Hannah Anderson. I got a lot of information about Hannah Anderson's story on something called Anatomy of a Kidnapping with Savannah Guthrie. And
you've been on a kidnapping kick.
Additional information.
Cassie, I feel like you've been on a real kick, you know?
This story is going to feel, sometimes we just have a theme and we just stick with it for a while. Also, Wikipedia as well. So it's San Diego, California. Beautiful San Diego. Hannah Marie Anderson is born in 1997 to Brett and Christina. Her friends call her Tina Anderson. She grows up in a loving home with her brother, Ethan. Hannah was a gregarious, outgoing teen. She's a cheerleader, gymnast. She's super active in her school and school activities. In 2003, though, the family, which is seemingly like just, all American happy family, the family, though, does go through a bit of a rough patch when Brett, the father, he loses his job and isn't able to come up with any new job opportunities. Until he finally lands a job in Tennessee, which moves him to out of state and away from his family. In Brett's absence, he's having, like I said, problems with his mom. The family is having a bit of problems. So this is kind of they're already having some issues. So the separation is all kind of coming to a head at the same time. In Brett's absence, he trusts his very best friend, this guy named Jim DiMaggio, to help step up and help out in his absence. Jim has been a part of the family forever. They call him Uncle Jim. He helps with picking up the kids from school and sports. What?
I said, I don't trust Uncle Jim at all.
Uncle Jim is trying to become Papa Jim.
You don't trust Uncle good old...
Ew.
He's anyway, he's helping out, picking up the kids from school, events, sports, things like that. So when August 3rd, 2003 comes around, he's scheduled to pick up Hannah from a cheerleading event. She doesn't even think anything of it. The plan was that Uncle Jim was going to come pick her up and they were going to head out to his cabin home out in Boulevard, California.
You got Uncle Jim and a cabin? No.
Nope.
No.
They're meeting Hannah's mom and her brother there. And they're heading out beforehand. So they're coming after. So already Hannah's mom and her brother are there. Jim was going to be selling his place. So this was kind of the last, hoorah for them to get away at the cabin and have some good times. They had gone to the cabin a bunch. This is something that the family did all the time. They would go go out there. There was a little fort for the kids.
This story
sounds four-wheeling and
so familiar to me.
I'm I've seen this Criminal Minds.
Oh, it's 2013. You definitely know this.
Yeah, I'm I saw this episode of Law and Order.
Oh my God. Dude, oh my God. So Chris and I just today, I was like, I'm going to do this story. And I told it to him. He's like, I swear, he's like, sometimes in my mind, I don't know if the story is just familiar or I just saw an episode of Criminal Intent that was
That's right.
Or, CSI.
Ripped from the headlines.
Also has a trajectory like this. This story, you will 100% know. As soon as I get into what happens, you'll remember the story for sure. So when they arrive, Hannah, the mom's car's there. So, they're already there. She immediately, though, notices when they walk into the house that something's a little off. Her mom's purse is on the counter, but so are a pair of handcuffs. Jim pulls out a gun and has her at gunpoint. and he sits her down and they play a sadistic game of Russian roulette. A game which he ends up pointing the gun at himself, at his head, pulling the trigger, and nothing happens. He puts the gun to her head. He doesn't pull the trigger, but then she hears like her brother wrestling upstairs, and he's like, "Oh, he's fine. He's still alive." Like shit like that. It's very sadistic. It's crazy. She is so he eventually gives her an Ambien, and she's like, I have a headache, and he's like, here's a Tylenol, but turns out it was an Ambien. So he takes her to the car and then he leaves. Oh. So she hasn't seen her mom. She knows her brother is upstairs, has heard him alive, right? The next day, the police are called to an enormous fire on Jim's property. What they discover is an elaborate setup in which the house, barn, and storage unit were all wired to be destroyed in a fire. There was a 24-hour timer set to start the initial explosion.
What the fuck?
Right. They soon found out that there was a body in the burnt out barn. So they find this fire. They put the fire out. Not all of the buildings have burnt completely either. So I think the only thing that's burnt completely down, I believe, was just the house. So not all of the fires had even gone through. So they had caught it before it actually had triggered all of the things. But this is like, I'm telling you, like when they show, like they said they found like elaborate underground wiring between each of the facilities. So like the house to the barn to the storage unit. And like I said, this initial, and it was like what did they say, like jet engine, or not jet engines, but something like to start it. It was like this really incredible. He was like, it's not like some gas can in the corner. I mean, he's like, these are elaborately put together, fully developed.
Do you know how long it takes
explosives
to do
put together?
Simple household repairs.
Mm-hmm. Amen.
Let alone setting
you got a clog in your
like
drain.
3 structures to fucking explode or whatever, catch fire simultaneously
with underground wiring.
I can't even get my fucking management company to properly fix my goddamn dishwasher. So
That's right. I mean, it's wild. Like, it's kind of like...
Is that light still out at your house?
This story I was telling last week, about Bjorkstalker, like, same thing, where I'm just like, God damn, y'all have time. Jesus. Like...
What are you doing?
Man, like half the time I have to plan out
cabin,
to even
sir.
eat one nutritious meal in a day. Meanwhile, you have all this excess time to just go like rig an entire barn with explosives. Like, what's happening?
Well, they find the body of Tina, this Hannah's mom. That's what they found in the burnt part of the barn. They then find the remains of the young son, Ethan, who was just 8 at the time. They have gone through everything, though, and have yet to see any sign of Jim DiMaggio or Hannah. This friend of the family has been, literally, I told you, he was a fixture in all of their lives, even before Hannah was even born. Brett's mother even said that she would refer to him as her third son. So this is somebody who's been there forever.
Well,
right?
that's terrifying.
According to Anthony,
that's so scary.
Exactly. Well, that's the thing, you guys. Listen, this is what I've been saying forever. Everybody's so panicked about Hollywood this and pedophile ring that. I'm like, it's the percentages of people who are molested by their own family members or people that they know, incredibly well is so high.
Yep.
So much easier to groom somebody that you've practically raised.
But it's fucking scary, man.
That trust is...
It's just so terrifying because it's just like, you... As an adult...
Look, I trust no one.
What?
I trust no one.
I trust you guys. But like, as an adult who has walls up, like when I choose to let people in, which, you know, we have a tight, you know, a tight-knit group of friends, and I've got you guys. Like, when I choose to let people in, it's because I've allowed my guard to come down enough to trust you in my life, to trust you with my feelings, to trust you with sharing things like if I ever had kids, like those kinds of things. So it's very, very scary when you hear stories like this, where it's like,
huge trust component because he's a trusted part of the family.
Yeah, of course. I mean, like I would trust, if I had kids, I would trust any of you to go pick them up. You know what I mean? Like it's just such a mind fuck, because it's like these parents, it's someone they trusted. That's so scary. Yeah.
So according to Anthony, on the of a kidnapping interview with Hannah, she said an incident occurred. Oh, I'm sorry. With anatomy. I said Anthony because that's what it looked like. Sorry.
Anthony.
According to anatomy of kidnapping interview with Hannah, she said that the incident occurred when an incident occurred. Jim had told her at one point, quote, "Don't think of me as creepy Uncle Jim, but if you were younger, or if I were younger, I would date you."
But that's creepy, Uncle Jim. Sorry. You can't say things like that.
That's exactly who you are. Use creepy Uncle Jim right now. She never told her mom about any of it because of the nature of the family relationship. And she goes on to say, like, I didn't want to say anything because really this is like, you know, my mother really had no one else she could trust. I know he was a shoulder for her. I didn't want to ruin this dynamic. And, you know, it was just one creepy comment.
Here's the thing. Just because kids can't speak English doesn't mean that they can't pick up on shit. I'm highly cognizant of that, which is, I think, why I haven't had my own, like, natural kids yet, where I'm just like, I feel so, and have felt so broken for such a long time that I'm just like, I know what I picked up on from my own parents when I was very little. And I know what I carry with me to this day, what I saw. And I just...
But you know what? That makes you that would make you an empathetic parent, though. You know what I mean? Because I feel like so many parents, especially a long time ago, like I feel like people have this misconception that children don't pick up on things, or they're not intelligent in any way.
Didn't feel pain. So they'd operate on babies without anesthetic. That's just recent that they've. So they literally, when they would operate on fucking babies, they would slice into them without anesthetic because they were like, oh, they don't feel pain. That's wild. That's recently within the last 10 years or something.
Fucking wild.
Fucking crazy.
I do understand the idea, though, that if you've had a traumatic past or things that you saw when you were a kid, and even myself, I mean, I never wanted to have kids.
Yeah.
I mean, prom night happened, but like I never wanted the burden of fucking somebody up. Honestly, I know that sounds really fucking crazy, but
it doesn't sound crazy at all. I think that's a hesitation a lot of people have, you know, when trying to decide whether or not they want to have children. It's a huge responsibility. To be honest, everyone should be thinking about that before they have kids. Amen. Like, you should think about those things. You know, it's a huge responsibility. You're taking somebody else's life and you're responsible for it.
What would destroy me, I think, worse than anything, honestly, is like, you hit it on the head when you were talking about how close-knit our friend group is. If somebody in my tight circle, like, did this stuff, and we're not even to the end yet.
I would never trust anyone again. I would never trust anyone again.
Ever.
If their relationship, you know, Tina, you know, the mom, and Uncle Jim's relationship was as close, or even kind of as close as my relationship with, like, Chris.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If it was anything like that and someone betrayed me in this way, I could never trust another human being for the rest of my life. Like, just, I'm going to get a house in the middle of the woods and goodbye. I'm never seeing anyone ever again because I don't trust anybody now.
I would not hesitate at all.
Oh, God, it's so
in a
fucking wild.
pinch to call Chris or Anthony to be like, oh my God, could you please pick up my kids or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I wouldn't think.
Right, of course.
I wouldn't even think twice. It wouldn't even be a fucking inkling of that. And so if that kind of trust.
Not even in the back, dark.
Not even. And I've watched every single fucking crazy true crime thing. Everything that you think I haven't seen, I've fucking seen it. I've seen it.
Yeah, that's exactly right. I have gone into the depths of YouTube and watched the weirdest shit on the internet. And there wouldn't even be in the deepest, darkest recesses of my mind any reason for me to hesitate if I had kids to call Chris to come pick them up. You know, I wouldn't even think about that.
And so,
why do we keep using my husband?
Sorry.
The thing is, if that trust is broken, when you're talking about people that I'm like, I literally scoured the internet looking for fucking warning signs, looking to try to. I feel like I'm an expert now when it comes to like psychopaths or sociopaths. And if I didn't, I wouldn't trust a person.
If one got past me,
trust anyone again.
I would never trust myself is the thing. I would never trust myself. I would never be able to look at myself ever again and say that like I am a good judge of character ever.
That's the thing though, if you really consider it. I mean, think about if you really look at the big picture here, somebody who is like that, right? A sociopath, that's their job is to get you
I know.
to trust. That is their job. I mean, look at Ted Bundy. I know it's the ultimate go-to, but look at, Anne Rule. She never suspected him.
Yeah. I mean, I guess it's what makes these people successful. It's what allows them access. It's what allows them to get close enough to people to be able to do things like this. But that's what makes these things so terrifying.
I guess. Also, though, this is for me, like, this is the long fucking game. If you think about it, like, my God, I mean, this is the first time in how many years of a relationship you've had with this family that suddenly you are now to a point of obsessed that you are taking a girl on the run, right? So let me tell you a little bit of background. Jim's family friend, Andrew Spanswick, gives a little bit of insight on his background. Jim's father had been abused. Jim's father had abused him terribly and would take him to crack houses, leaving him to do drugs, basically. His father, at 35, nearly the same age, also became fixated on a 16-year-old girl breaking into her room with a gun. So, like,
why are people why are people this way? Like, I don't understand. I don't. Why do we hurt each other so much? I don't know. I'm just talking. It just makes me sad.
Sure, crack didn't help.
Is somebody that has recently been in the close proximity of 16-year-olds. Why do you want to be around them, period? Male or female. Ever.
You're not wrong.
That could also, though, lend itself to the mentality of that person as well, right? I've been watching a lot of Criminal Minds lately.
What season?
Yeah, you're an expert.
We just got JJ back in season 7, so we're pretty excited about that.
Nice. Pretty happy.
Oh, I'm not even her leaving yet.
But you know what?
I'm on season.
Eric's
3.
favorite character
Still like the middle of season.
It's Spencer Reed. He's just like he's the best. After watching it again, I'm like, he is the best.
Yeah, he's perfection. He's like genuine perfection.
It's really great. I forgot how much I like that show. I am kind of back obsessed.
That
with
show
it.
is really Chef's Kiss amazing.
So best.
It really is. But to go along with what you were saying, though, I mean, like, it's not. Yeah, like, listen, and to all of our teenage listeners, I love and appreciate you. It's not anything against you. But I know that I was an emotional mess at 16. I was probably pretty intolerable to be around to most adults. So it's not about like being a joy to be around or enjoying that person's company. It's about somebody that you can manipulate and control. Like that's
Correct.
That's all it is. Like it's somebody who you know that you can groom and eventually dominate.
Yep.
Like that's it.
So back at the I don't know when to call it a ranch, but the cabin area, upon further inspection at the fire scene, right? They found black garbage bags in the attic of the garage. Inside, they found packaging for handcuffs, zip ties, hunting knives, and evidence from the stuff that he had used to build his from his home to like build these explosives. They also found 8x10 printed images from her Facebook. 8x10 printed photos from her Facebook.
I don't like that. What do you go? You go on a like fucking website and you have to order them, and then they have to come to you, and you have to buy fucking frames.
Dude,
8x10s.
yeah, he went to fucking CVS and he went to that little kiosk and he printed all that shit for like an extra $1.50 because it costs more in the 8x10 size.
8x10s. Woof. Now they're more certain than ever that he has definitely kidnapped Hannah at this point. They were saying like with the amount of explosives, with the amount of fire starter, etc. Like these bags were definitely meant to be burnt, and they were not meant to be found. They put in an Amber Alert in a 4-state area at this time, and this is the first time, by the way, that they are able to use the direct alert system to cell phones. So now people are not only getting alert if you're watching TV or on the radio, but you're getting that direct Amber Alert to your phone now. So tons of messages are pouring in. Meanwhile, Jim is on his way taking Hannah across country to and his cat Oliver to a remote camp location in Idaho.
That cat doesn't want to be there.
To a place
that cat
called
does not want to be there. That cat is like, you should have set me free. I don't want to go on a camping trip.
No.
Okay? Like
he's like, to a river of no return. Nah, I'm
no
good,
cat
son.
wants to go camping.
This is about 8 miles from the
You know, I have to be honest. I did follow an Instagram that was like cats camping, and it was super adorable. But you legit have to start that shit when they're like 4 weeks old, or they will hate you forever. You can't.
Yeah.
If I tried to take Matilda on a camping trip,
Oh my
she would
God.
claw my face off.
She's not having any of that.
Rude, actually. She'd be like, fuck you.
Poor Oliver.
So, they're about 8 miles from the trailhead, from the trailhead in this remote area. And about 3 days after disappearing with DiMaggio, they are spotted by 2 couples on horseback. She, in her interview, she says like she sees these guys and she's like, oh my God, this is my fucking out. Like these people could save me. But he's like, I will fucking shoot them. I will kill them, and I will kill you if you even give one hint that anything's wrong. So the couples on the horseback are like, yeah, this is totally cool that there's some girl out here with a cat and some dude. And they're all like, the woman is like, no, we were fucking super suspicious from the get-go. Like literally there's like a guy with a young girl and a cat.
Oh my God. Can you imagine?
Yeah, cats draw suspicion.
Make it home
and so hard. If that shit was happening,
yeah,
I'd be like,
yes.
Blink twice.
So hard.
You're in danger. I'd be like throwing out psychic symbols to her. Ugh.
Right. Right, like blink, 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 blink.
Yeah,
blink,
look, if
blink,
you don't
blink,
want to
blink,
get,
blink.
never have I gotten so much attention in my whole life than when I used to take Matilda on walks on a leash. Like, you will never get so much attention as when you have a cat out in public somewhere, because people don't see it. They're used to dogs. If anyone sees a cat out in public, antennas are up. Okay, they're like, what's happening?
So they make it home, and they see on the news right away that they were not wrong, and they contact the police right away. The FBI converges in Cascade, Idaho, which is where this unit is.
Spencer
right?
Reed is
And
on
a rescue
the
team
case.
is surrounding. Yeah. Yeah, they are.
With
Princess is
bangs,
there.
without
She's like,
bangs. I don't know. What
just cut
season
bangs.
is it?
With it's not the harsh bangs. It's the I don't mind those bangs season. A rescue team is surrounding them at this point. They are surveilling at the time and waiting for a moment when they are somewhat sure that they can they want to remove her away from him, right? So they don't want them to be like close to each other when they move in. And at some point they do see like a plane go overhead, kind of like a surveillance. And literally Hannah's like, at this time, she's like, he's like, we really need to get out of here. Like, he's like, this isn't safe. He's like, I'm going to try to flag down this like helicopter and then we'll take it over and, then we'll escape to someplace else. That's his big wild plan. And so she's like, well, I heard that if you shoot a gun 3 times in the air, that's how people will know that you're in
Is this man an
distress.
absolute
And so
idiot?
he shoots off his gun in the fucking air, and out of everywhere come the fucking FBI, and they fucking shoot him and take him down. And she's like, they're fucking everywhere. So they helicopter her out, take her to the hospital. She doesn't know what's happened to her family. So it's at the hospital that they have to break it to her that her fucking little baby brother and her fucking mom were killed by this man, and he purposely set fire. So the aftermath, though, is even as wild as what happened, right? So she decides to get on this place because, people have 1,000 questions. This is like recent and everybody is like, what's going on, so like I'm saying, the aftermath is even more wild. So she's young. She's a teenager, right? She's 16 years old, and she is, doesn't know any other life. She's just 2013. Her life is social media. This is how she relates to her friends. This is how she communicates with the world and people. So she gets on Ask website where she like it's a live ask me anything kind of thing, and where people ask questions to people who've done stuff and they answer. Yeah. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Have you
yeah.
heard of this? I remember all this as it was happening. I remember this happening too. And people are asking her questions, and people are like lashing out at her because of her demeanor. So she's just kind of basically like, oh, blah, blah, blah. That's what happened. XYZ. That's what happened. And just very kind of clearly just like stating.
Hi, she's a
but
teenager.
also, well,
Like,
she's not emotional.
As we've seen in 2020, it's really difficult to pick up on tone on social media or online. You're not able to read someone's facial cues.
Absolutely.
Online. You're not able to make any, so you're just reading words. And so inevitably, scientifically, you put your own biases on those words coming at you.
Mm-hmm.
And so then you decide to respond. Yeah.
Absolutely.
So
It's
I'm
the
just
filter
like,
you're running it through.
You're reading words that a 16-year-old is writing after being
Who's processing trauma.
and her fucking mom and her little brother have been murdered. And it's just like, how do you put context onto that, reading them onto an internet? You fucking can't, because chances are you haven't been there. So,
Of course not. And honestly, how people deal and cope with stress is so different. And also, too, I don't know. Like, I know for myself, I have a total shame receipt that I'm going to share with you, because I'm going to share this real quick. So because of her demeanor, all this lashing out, they have even pictures of her that she's posted of her smiling after their family memorial. So shame receipt. So Chris, when he had his first heart attack, I don't deal with grief well. I don't deal with trauma well. And my way to deal with things like that usually is to laugh or make a joke or or I don't know, like do something completely like I'm the worst at grief and things like this. So when Chris first had his heart attack, I asked his doctor numerous times when we could have sex again. I didn't give a shit. I can't even believe that's what, and literally Chris is looking at me like, what the fuck are you even talking about? I don't know, because I don't know how to cope or handle or deal with things like that. Like it's such a dumb, wild, like what am I even saying? Like I couldn't care less. And it's just like, so how people compute drama and how people react to trauma can be very screwy for every individual.
Absolutely. I mean, and for people to like analyze and judge her photos after the memorial and things like that, it's like, okay, so what's the acceptable amount of time then? Can we pull the internet when the acceptable amount of time is that needs to pass before you're allowed to smile publicly again? Like, it's just such a strange thing to decide that like this person's face isn't allowed to look like this because I don't think it's
you look at like
the
Darlene Routier case or whatever, the silly string on the fucking whatever, and then you also look at, we've talked about it recently, like the I'll Be Gone in the Dark, where like people gave Patton Oswalt so much fucking shit for getting married, quote unquote, so soon after Michelle McNamara's death.
Well, and they interview, they interview a woman too who is a victim of the East Area rapist. She survived this absolutely horrifying thing, and she says, "I didn't cry when it was happening." It was even they showed her like they showed her statement, and they wrote in her statement that she seemed unusually calm. And chatty, and she smiled, and she's smiling in her pictures that they took afterwards. And she says, the first time I cried after this happened was when Elvis died. And that's a weird response to us. Like, we look at that and we go like, you just survived something genuinely terrifying that like most human beings won't even come close to. And this was just your body's way of protecting you and dealing with it. You know what I mean? And it's weird to us, but that's not doesn't mean that didn't happen to you.
We have this weird mix of like fight, flight, or freeze when we and everybody's got their own unique cocktail, I feel like, and it's based upon the trauma or the things that we've gone through that really make up the incredible mixture that we have when it comes to like really traumatic events. And luckily, most of us don't have to figure out what that cocktail is because we don't go through the incredibly traumatic things that some of the stuff that we see on TV is. We can guess, oh, I would be like this and whatever. And we can judge, we can be a Nancy Grace about it. Right. But most of us, 99.9% of us, luckily, will never have to know for sure. So, yeah, it's fucking, that's nuts.
Right. It is really fucked up. And Jim's sister as well also had some questions. She, some people are suggesting that Hannah may be connected to her own disappearance.
Okay, fuck off. Okay.
Rumors of letters between her and Jim were debunked, though, by the police. And they had stated that the only letter that was ever found was a simple advice letter, innocent, like to Uncle Jim, asking for advice from this older figure, like absolutely nothing suggestive at all. So people are just literally just throwing out a bunch of bullshit. All evidence, including everything forensically, completely confirm that this was the work of one man, that was Jim DiMaggio, and that she had absolutely no involvement in her own kidnapping.
Can we just
any of
all
this.
agree to like stop fucking blaming teenage girls for their fucking victims, for their fucking kidnappings from like 30, 40-year-old
Yeah, which one of you was the guy who wanted to fucking kayak
me.
to Panama? Was that you, Christina?
We're like half the
come
town
on.
literally is
Okay.
like, she's
Like-
a fucking Lolita, she's a slut, like she fucking seduced him and ruined his life, like blah blah blah.
Jesus.
You can't seduce a 50-year-old. Like, if you're a teenage girl, sorry, you can't seduce a 50-year-old man. That is a grown-ass adult who gets to make a decision
not how that
about what
works.
he's doing with his life. No amount. It doesn't matter what you
That's
did.
right.
Exactly.
Does not matter. You're a child,
Yep,
and that person is an
exactly.
adult.
Yeah,
That's
these
it.
stories drive me nuts, and I fucking hate that standard.
Well,
That fucking little girls, because that's what they fucking are. A 15-year-old girl is a little girl. She's a fucking child. And the fact that
Yes.
she has to carry the mantlehood of adulthood on her just
Well-
because society has bombarded her with images that she should have fake eyelashes and perky tits and a perfect body or whatever. So she should walk around with a woman's
Well, and
body.
even if
and they're
she
trying to put
does,
fucking all this shit on her. Oh, it makes me fucking crazy. It makes me angry.
well, and even if she does, like, that's the thing, is it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how much they're dancing around on TikTok. It doesn't matter, like, if they have a woman's body. It doesn't matter if they wear a full
right.
face of makeup. None of that shit matters.
Yes.
This is a child. So treat her like a child. That's it.
that's right. And having makeup and being dressed a certain way. Listen, I get the idea of not, like, we shouldn't sexualize children, A, but B, you're a fucking adult. It shouldn't fucking matter. It's not, if you have makeup on for a dance, it's not permission. It's not permission to do anything. This is, like you said, it's still a fucking child. Makeup, no makeup, dressing them like cute little adults or whatever. It doesn't fucking matter. They're still children, and that's not a permission slip for you to do whatever the fuck you want.
Yep. Yeah.
Period. It's just as dirty as shaming a woman for
Yeah.
wearing a short skirt. It's
Right.
filthy.
I think
Whatever.
about it all the
Anyway,
time
do you guys wanna
about,
hear
like-
a story that you're going to have to fucking 100% cut out. You want to hear the most disgusting thing you've ever heard in your life? When my brother was sent to prison for molesting his daughter, my mom said that it was alluded that she had seduced him.
Oh my God, Cass.
That's what my
Ugh.
family said. So
No, it's to me, it's just like
Is that the most
transitioned
disgusting
into
shit?
like what we're watching, and we're watching like, for me this week, it's been All the Vow, it's been Criminal Minds, it's been MSNBC, it's
Yes.
been dealing with some of the emails that we've gotten in or whatever. Like, here's the thing: we try not to take a political stance as my worst state, but in this day and age, like, you can't help but not have a political stance. And it's very clear, I think, to anybody that listens to our show, we are very pro BLM. We're very pro #MeToo. We're very pro, like, giving voice to the oppressed and everything. And we're just fucking...
mm-hmm.
It's really difficult, like, to hear stories like that and to hear
Your-
people's rebuttals, because what you said, that whole kayak to Mexico story, there was a good 5 minutes of people's interjections being like, well, she just was, the way she was dressing, and she was like, she seduced him.
You know what?
And I'm
That's
like-
those people's damage. That's their damage. That's them living with some shit that happened to them when they were a kid, not wanting to have to deal with the fact that maybe something happened to them. That's their damage. Okay, that's always what I think is. This is how they were brought up. Things happened to them. They had to deal with it, and they want everybody else to have to be in the same boat as them instead of having to protect people. And also, I just want to say there is no such thing as not being political. It doesn't fucking exist. Your politics reflect your worldview, which reflects everything about the way that you speak, the way that you communicate with other people. All of it matters. And we don't have to be like overtly political on this podcast. I don't think we are that often. I mean, we definitely are some of the time, but we're not that often. But it's going to seep through because it's who we are.
And I feel like in 2020, it matters more than anything. Like if you're not looking at the state of things and you don't fucking think that we're at a fucking catalyst or a breaking point, then I don't know what kind of privileged world that you
tipping point
live in. Because good fucking God, for a lot of us, it
being
is
non-political.
Honestly,
being non-political is a political action. If you are choosing to be neutral and you are choosing to be quote unquote not into politics, that is a political action. Just acknowledge that much. I'm not urging you to do anything, but just acknowledge that choosing to not engage is making a decision. It is.
There's tons of fucking cute things that you can find on
Speaking of the vow, though,
macrame that's like silence is violence and like, you know, all that fucking shit.
Go ahead and cross stitch something to hang up on your wall. All right? Okay. Listen,
oh my God, I mean, the vow. Are you guys all watching it?
Talk to me because I haven't watched it yet. I haven't. I finished Perry Mason, and that's what's been taking up.
Good. It's so good.
Wow. I'm like, it can't get better. In every episode, I'm just like, holy shit.
I want to. Oh. I really do. It's that like the amount of
HBO Go now.
The amount of time that I have to watch things with Anthony is very limited. So I've been watching, like, we have things that we need to finish. So we finished Perry Mason, which the ending of Perry Mason, beautiful, fantastic, amazing. Can't wait for season 2.
Okay.
But other than that, it's like I've been watching things by myself because Anthony and I don't have a lot of time, so I have to wait for him to watch The Vow.
Wait, but did you actually watch Class Action Park?
Not yet.
Oh my God. Okay, so I told Keegan, Christina, you watched it, right? I told Keegan, I said, you guys can play a drinking game for as many times as you say, oh my God.
No.
And she goes, I don't know if we'd survive. I said, you might not.
Like attraction that they introduced, I'd be like, I would die. Literally.
Everyone.
Every single one.
Anthony gasped and grabbed his chest about 5 times when we watched the trailer. So
okay, wait. I want you to film him when they talk about the very first ride, the one with the loop-to-loop. Keegan earmuffs. Oh, take your earbuds out. The fucking
I was
teeth.
Dead.
Did you fucking shit?
Okay.
I took my headphones out, so I don't know what you said.
No, the fucking.
But I can't wait. I can't wait.
Dude, I kind of want to see Anthony's reaction to that.
Honestly, where they were like, literally, here's a concrete luge. Take a skateboard with rocks everywhere.
With rocks.
Have fun. Bye. Dude.
Okay, so to continue down my absolutely insane path of shows, I started watching, and this says a lot about me that, like, I was like scrolling through Netflix trying to find something to watch that I can watch without Anthony, and I found like the most fucked up thumbnail ever. And I was like, that's the one. That's the one. That's what I'm going to watch. So I started watching Marianne on Netflix. It is a French horror show.
No.
So it's in French. You have to read the subtitles. But when I tell you that the imagery in the first couple episodes of this show were legitimately horrifying. Like, truly, truly scary.
What's wrong with you, girl?
It was, I don't know. So something's deeply wrong. But I it was so good. I really enjoyed it. And now Netflix, because I watched that and I watched Dark, Netflix will not stop suggesting shows that are not in English to me, which I don't mind reading subtitles, but you know, sometimes you need to have something going in the background and you're watching a show with subtitles, you have to really pay attention. But Marianne, I do not suggest it for either of you two, but for the listeners who have come to rely on me for good, scary suggestions, I would suggest Marianne. I'm not sure I'm thrilled with the ending, but the imagery of this show was very scary.
I'm gonna ask Eric about it as soon as we get done. He loves horror, I think, almost, if not as much as you do, Keegan.
He should watch the first episode.
Every single thing that you have talked about on the podcast, he has seen.
I know.
He talks to me about it. He's like, oh, yeah, I love that movie. Or like whatever. And I'm like, oh my God. And so I told you guys, I think on a podcast a while ago, where I'm like, once a month, he's allowed to pick one scary thing for me to watch. So, Keegan, it's up to you now.
I don't suggest this for you, Christina.
Okay. Thank you.
I don't. I mean, I will say, like, if you wanted, and it was something that he chose, you can watch the first episode together and then decide. But as someone, I actually thought about you when I was watching it, because you are one of those who are like, nah, not trying to invite these demons into my home.
You don't let that demon in my house.
That demon energy is strong in this show, so you might not want to watch it.
Thank you. Because there's some stuff that feels far removed, like there are like monster movies and stuff like that don't bother me, that don't scare me as much, or like when people do stupid shit, like Sinister. There was some scary shit in that, but I was like, you fucking don't watch. If someone leaves fucking 8mm films in your attic, don't fucking watch them. That's weird and creepy.
Then in that case,
I don't like that.
I will say, in Marianne, there are parts where I'm like, why the fuck are y'all sticking around? Like, I don't understand. Like, there's no reason for you guys to be just like still kicking it. So they did make dumb decisions that pulled me out a little bit. And I will say, like, to me, the first half of the season was scarier than the second half. The second half started getting a little like cartoony horror for me. But the first half, when you don't know what the fuck is happening, is I was legitimately freaked out by it. So, yeah.
Good.
Dude, there's a show, Christina, I think you would like. It is also got a little bit of don't let that demon in my home energy, but it's actually really good. I liked it. It was called Evil on CBS. It was really
Evil.
good.
Mm-hmm.
Did you watch that? It's good.
Yeah. I didn't watch it, but I heard good things.
Oh, it's really good. Highly recommend. Chris and I binged it. I'm ready for another episode or another season. It was super interesting.
Who's famous in that? Isn't there someone famous in that show? Possibly. Never mind. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Yeah, I don't know. What am I, Karen Kilgariff? I don't know.
Well, hey, if you guys have something to watch, if you've got stories to share, if you just want to reach out, go to our one-stop shop of a website. It's myworstdatepodcast.com. And stay safe, stay healthy out there, stay fighting. We love you so much.
Cheers.
This is a Glass Box Media Podcast.